AITA for not accepting my sister's relationship with my ex despite her having cancer as a teenager. When I was 4 and she was 3, my 25 female father married my step 23 sister's female mother. We've been living together for the most of our lives and consider ourselves a family. She and I were inseparably close. She was 14 when she was diagnosed with cancer and was hospitalized for almost 2 years. She has subsequently recovered completely. My parents were reasonably overprotective around that time. They also had a lot of questions for me. I gave up my extracurricular activities so I could acquire a job. The money went towards her medical expenditures and transport her to appointments. I didn't go to dances, and any pleasant things I did had to involve her. I did practically all of this voluntarily, with the exception of having to abandon my high school volleyball team, for which I had a little tantrum but was quickly reprimanded. And, given the circumstances, I believe experiencing one emotional breakdown was very normal. Anyway, when I'm a junior in college, I meet my ex, whom we'll name Ben. We fell in love, blah blah blah, etc. When we graduated, he and I moved in together, so we've been living together for roughly 3 years. We were serious until I went into my bedroom in July and caught in my sister. I cut it off, tears were shed, he moved out, and so forth. My sister apologized at first, but then she backtracked. I thought she was giving me space, but she phoned last week and asked if we could meet up. She said that she and Ben were in love and were just informing me as a courtesy before they began uploading images online. Disgusted, I left her alone in the restaurant and did not pay my half of the bill. She afterwards Venmo'd me, requesting the money. She informed my parents, who summoned me to their home and expressed their displeasure with me for not supporting my sister's connection with Ben. They said that since she had cancer as a youngster, she never acquired good social manners and had difficulty meeting new people. I don't buy that, in part because I've seen her socialize just fine, and because we spent a significant amount of the time she was unwell together. By that reasoning, I should have poor social skills as well. They then warned me that if I didn't accept my sister and Ben's relationship, they could have to stop communicating with me. I told them that I am also their daughter and that they should understand my point of view. But they insist that this is all about me being envious of her. I'll state unequivocally that I'm not envious of her. I'm not disappointed that Ben chose her over me. I'm saddened by the breakup and feel betrayed, but the Lord knows I don't want to be with a cheater. What irritates me is that my sister picked Ben over me, that she slept with Ben despite the fact that he and I were in a long-term, committed relationship, and that she continues to remain with him despite how much it hurts me. And no one in my immediate family is talking to me anymore, and I'm receiving texts from aunts, uncles, and cousins calling me a jerk and a selfish p***tch. Edit. This has received a lot more attention than I anticipated, and I'm struggling to keep up. So if I don't say thank you, then thank you. I've been given a lot to think about. To be honest, although I felt bitter or sad about my adolescence, I've always believed that I did the right thing for my sister and my family. And it wasn't all bad. I was extremely close to my sister, and we tried to have as much fun as we could. But, as several of you pointed out, I didn't see it as a surrender of my parents' obligations or that they were wronging me. I certainly have a lot on my mind. Thank you once again for helping me feel less insane about everything. Update 1. Sometimes you just have to chuckle. I just got off the phone with my cousin, who noticed this article and offered to clarify a few things. I asked him why he was on Reddit instead of school, and he questioned why I was on Reddit instead of work, to which I replied, touche. He informed me that following my meeting with my mother, she went to his place and spoke with my aunt. And here's how it works. My sister is not only in a relationship with Ben, but she is also 4 months pregnant. That indicates she and Ben were for a longer period of time than I had anticipated. My parents are apparently so insistent that I forgive her since I'm already destroying their first grandchild's experience. That's right, I'm not as significant as my stepmom sharing pregnancy pictures on Facebook. This is where we are. Anyway, I phone in ill for the remainder of the day and plan to consume a lot of beer. A lot of booze, for example. And then I start wondering what the heck I'm going to do. Update 2. Before I continue, there are 2 points I want to make. I didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood. When my sister was diagnosed, the favoritism began. I moved out shortly after and have been quite self-sufficient ever since. I'm not claiming my parents treated me well during those years, but I wasn't Cinderella. I did not pass out from intoxication. I drank 2 spritzers of white wine. But I appreciate everyone's concern. Anyway, here's the latest. I contacted my sister and asked her to meet me in a park, no bill involved. When I inquired whether she was pregnant, she told me the truth. She expressed a desire for us to remain in one another's life, as well as for me to be in her baby's. A Redditor, I'm sorry I forgot who, said that she may ask me to be the godmother, and that person was accurate. But, as many of you pointed out, if I didn't cut her off, I'd end myself working at her bank and daycare. So I informed her I couldn't be in her life any longer. And I left her bawling on a park bench, feeling like the worst person on the planet. I contacted my parents, telling them how deceived I felt and that I would no longer communicate with them. To her credit, my stepmother apologized. She added that she never expected my sister to survive long enough to have children and that she let her emotions about it get the best of her. Understandable. My father said nothing, which was honestly the worst part of the whole incident. For the first time since the breakup, Ben attempted texting me through a burner account, but I banned him without reading anything. I did not go nuclear and publish the tale on Facebook, as others urged, but instead wrote an email to extended family members I care about. I described the circumstances and how I would be separating from my family. Some have turned it into an us versus them scenario, and although I appreciate the support, feeling like I'm fighting a brave war just makes me fatigued. So I haven't spoken to many people in my family. I'm lonely and depressed, but I believe I made the correct choice. Anyway, it's hardly the most fascinating update in the world, but at least everyone knows I'm not dead. I'm grateful for the support I've received. It helped me smile at a difficult period. And hey, if anybody in the greater Boston area needs an additional Thanksgiving guest, let me know. Story 2. AITA for going off on a mother who just wanted to vent. My daughter's kindergarten has a red-haired mother working in the office. There's no doubt she has a red-haired daughter. Her daughter's favorite Disney princess is Ariel, and she just learned that in the next live-action film, Ariel would not have red hair, as she has, but will instead have black hair, which she finds disappointing. This mother approaches me at the next PA meeting, which was the following day, and begins ranting about diversity in films and how no one cares about white people, despite the fact that I had only talked to her once before. She said that as a result, her daughter no longer had any Disney princesses that looked like her, and that as a result, she has been sobbing for days. For the sake of clarification, I am an American. My ancestors are of South Korean origin. The reason I kept those two things separate is because I identify as an American, and exclusively as an American. I was irritated by her because there are literally 4-5 other Disney princesses who are all white, just like her daughter, and I'm not sure if there is another red-haired or ginger Disney princess, but I was irritated by her because there are literally 4-5 other Disney princesses who are all white, just like her daughter, and isn't there another red-haired or ginger Disney princess? OMG, that's horrible. It's even worse than my kid declaring her desire to be a Disney princess and then being informed there aren't any Korean princesses, I told her. I don't think it's fair to say that you have a few different Disney princesses while we have none. She is taken aback by the fact that I am really talking to her again and looks around for support, but finds none, with the majority of others nodding in agreement. It's unfair, she claims, since the other white princesses don't have red hair, and my kid doesn't have somebody who looks precisely like her. Poor you, my kid doesn't have anybody who even somewhat resembles her, I say. Your daughter's favorite character is Rapunzel, and although she must understand that she will never look exactly like her, your daughter may at least resemble another princess, says the author. You have Mulan in your daughter. She lets out a scream. In all seriousness, I really shouted that in a very scratchy voice. We are descended from Koreans. Not only are there various noticeable variations in the way Mulan appears compared to our appearance, but Mulan also serves in the Chinese army, not as a representation of all Asians, but rather as an advocate for the Chinese people as a whole. However, if you believe that all Asians look the same and that we should be content with Mulan, that is fine. But you must be overjoyed with your 5 white princesses, even if you do not seem to be too alike. In the event that you or your daughter desire a movie starring someone who completely portrays you or your daughter, then let me tell you something that we POC have been saying for decades. Create your own movies. When I told her what I told her, she got quite agitated and went away. According to my husband's Facebook post, she has been quietly sobbing since I said it. He DM'd me and told me that I should have simply shut your dumb mouth and stop moaning about things in a nation you chose to move to instead of close your stupid mouth and stop complaining. AITA, I don't believe I am, but I am becoming more worried.